Welcome to Monday Readings, friends.
Hello!
It's so nice to see you. Favorite horror fans in the same place. Hooray! I need some horror chat, please. We definitely need to get some horror.
The weirdos are in the room.
Yes.
Whenever people say weirdos, I always think about the Crafts line when he says, "Careful the weirdos," and they're like, "We are the weirdos, Mister." That's just.
I'm here to scare people. That's fine.
Yeah,
We are the weirdos, darling. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know about you two, but I love the fact that it's light in the evenings. Is it still light for you, Kasha? I know you're a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. A little bit. Yeah. Still. Yeah. Still light.
It makes such a difference. I feel like I'm awake. I mean, I was just saying to you that I'm tired, but I find the light, contrary to popular belief, I'm not a vampire, and I do find the light quite invigorating in an evening. So it's lovely to see you both.
But you start we're going to worry.
Yeah, I'm definitely. If I was a vampire, I wouldn't be that kind. I don't think I'd be like the Damon and Stefan Salvatore, who's amassed millions and just drinks whiskey and blood all day. That sounds pretty good to me. So how have you two been? What are you reading? I want to know everything. Kasha, what are you planning to read tonight?
So I'm a little bit unsure. I just finished The Gathering today.
What did you think?
I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I
What did you think?
love the ending or parts of it, but I really enjoyed it. I think she's getting so much better at writing. Like every book she puts out, it feels more and more like the atmosphere. Like I just could feel that I was in that town and the cold. Like I could really feel that I was there. It gave me vibes of 30 Days of Night.
Yes.
And a little bit of Midnight Mass in a way because of the whole church thing. I don't know if you've seen Midnight Mass. I think Sharon started it. It's from Mike Flanagan. It's on Netflix. It's a really good story. Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. I like when vampires feel more human than creature-like, and I think that's the type of vampires that she portrayed. And, the typical human thing of we reject and we isolate things we don't understand. That's how we deal with it. Like, So I like the dynamic between the humans and the vampires and hearing from both sides how they have things wrong because they haven't really stopped to talk to each other properly. Basically, it's like, it's just a misunderstanding because they don't talk to each other. So it's so basic, but I loved it. I really like the investigation. I love Barbara. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's very solid.
Yeah, I requested more Barbara from CJ Tudor. I said, could we please just have at least one more Barbara book, please? And she was like, I think that she would like to write more Barbara. I got that vibe. I had a really good time talking to her. She's a very, very cool, interesting person. We chatted for about 2.5 hours. I think about an hour of it was the interview, but then we just talked about everything. She's amazing. I love it when I really admire an author and then get to meet them and they're a really cool person as well. Like that just kind of cements it for me. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it because
it was a great interview, Amy. It was great.
Oh, thank you. She was really easy to interview. Like it didn't take any effort at all on my part. I just was like trying. I think the only problem with people like her and Kendara Blake, I get really nervous because I admire them, so I have to kind of try not to be too excited. But that's the only challenge because they're just really easy to talk to. So the dilemma, you're having like the book hangover, Kasha, of what do you read after The Gathering?
Exactly. No, I have I started a Lamplighter the other day, so I don't know if I will read a little bit of that on one of the sprints. And then I have this one.
Oh, yes.
And this one that I know Sharon is finishing.
Oh, so is that the reappearance of Rachel Price? Yeah.
So like these two I still need to read this month, so I need to make it before the month ends. And I don't know which one to pick because I think this one is going to be probably easy to read and I'm gonna love it because so far I have enjoyed everything by Holly Jackson, and this one I'm unsure about, but I kind of want to try it, so like I don't know which one to pick first, but maybe I'll start both tonight.
I read them both over the space of a weekend, so because I went away for a few days with family, and every night I didn't take any work for once. I just read, and I read those two books, and I found Diavola it goes deeply into the family dynamic, and it's very much about a disintegrating family as much as it is a haunted house, and the two things are very entangled, and it feels it's very compelling and Moorish and atmospheric, but it's quite bleak in tone. Whereas Rachel has its bleak moments, but it's the usual Holly Jackson fare of really fast paced, lots of secrets to unravel. So it depends what mood you're in, I think. Have you read the Holly Jackson one, Sharon, but not the other one? Have we lost Sharon?
I haven't read Diavola. I'm here.
Oh, sorry. I think we're on a slight delay. I think I'm asking you questions, and it's maybe coming through a little late.
Okay. I haven't read Diavola. I've got it on my Kindle to go. And yeah, and I'm still reading the reappearance of that one, whatever she's called, Rachel Price.
Yeah.
I've only read one Holly Jack. Is it? Oh, right. I've only read one Holly Jackson, and that was The Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I liked the first one, but I DNF'd the second book. So I'm going to see how I get on with this. Really, I haven't read anything else by her, and I'm also reading this one, More Rats by Ivy Tholen, which is the woman who wrote Tastes Like Candy 1 and 2. So this is set in a mall. I don't know if it's nostalgic, but it looks quite
it's in
fun.
The 90s.
And the cover's so fun.
I read it in April. It's based on the 90s. Yes.
Yeah, I really like.
Oh, even better. So I read Tastes Like Candy 2. I thought was better.
Really?
Than 1.
Interesting.
So yeah, it was really good, really twisty turny. It was very good fun. Yeah. So but the same kind of sparky kind of dialogue you get through it. So I really enjoyed that. So I've just read all 3 of them in like 3 days. So I'm just going to start that one tonight, I think, and then carry on with the reappearance of Rachel Price, which I'm enjoying, but I don't want to pick it up. I don't know what that means. When I read it and pick it up, I really enjoy it, but if I put it down, I don't want to pick it up. So, but that might just be me because it's a weird time in my life. I don't know.
No, I mean, it could be, but this month I have hardly finished any books, and I'm reading about 5 at once, and I keep picking each of them up and going, oh, this is okay, and then I put it down, and like you said, I'm not desperate to pick any of them up again. Like, I think I just need a really fantastic book to pull me back in.
Yeah. When I pick it up, I really enjoy it, but it's just that picking it up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that, and it's a chunky book. It's not an easy.
This afternoon, I gave up reading and watched 13 Ghosts.
Is that good? Is that the was it from early 2000s, that one?
I think so.
Brilliant.
It's great.
I love it. It's one of my favourite films.
I haven't watched it for years. I think I maybe saw it at the cinema, if it's the one I'm thinking of, and I really enjoyed it, but I don't think I've watched it since then. All right, let's jump to the comments and then do a sprint. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I wasn't, darling. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's fine. I'm just, I think we're just working with the usual technical issues. That is cool, Stephen. I still haven't got to read mine. I keep saying every week I'm going to read it next, and then I remember something else I'm supposed to read, and I haven't got to it, but I really need to. I want to read it this month, ideally, because I'm going to interview Kendara when I've read it. I did, thank you. I went to Sundown Adventureland, which I don't know whether anybody who doesn't have small children knows what that is. But it's basically a theme park, but for little kids. So it's things like you ride a tractor very slowly around a pretend farm, and you ride what else do you do? Like a pretend train around a sort of old west town, which is really politically incorrect. They could do with updating it. Hi, Kitty.
Hi, Kitty.
But yeah, so
that was
the highlight of my weekend was going to a kiddie theme park.
Nice.
To Sir Philip with Love by Julia Quinn. Why does that sound familiar?
I think she wrote the Bridgerton book, so it might be one of the Bridgerton books.
I was just going to say that. I've never watched or read any Bridgerton, and yeah, that was just the vibe I got from that title. I do think I'd like it. It's just Kev doesn't really like historical stuff, and we tend to watch stuff together in an evening, so I don't tend to watch things he's not that interested in.
I also watch it by myself, but I enjoy it, but I also watch it by myself because I know it's not for my partner, but I enjoy it. I think Bridgerton is cool.
Maybe I need to try and fit it in. It's on Netflix though, isn't it? I currently don't have Netflix. I need to probably just get it and catch up on all the things that I've not watched. Hello. Okay, I don't know if I said hello. I was just talking about Bridgerton.
Hello.
I mean,
Nice.
you can just add some variety.
Well, there's something to be said for the fact that Regency romance can be a bit of a horror.
Well, yeah.
Fair.
I mean, for the women involved, for the people of colour involved, definitely.
Oh, yeah. I have it on my TBR bio because I refuse to watch the movie without reading it because I bought the book specifically and I still have not read it. So I need to push that as soon as possible because I'm dying to watch the movie, but I promised myself I would read the book first.
Your restraint is very impressive.
Yes.
Oh, how is the book? Because I enjoyed the TV show, but it felt like it ripped me to smithereens and I just cried for a good portion of it. So I did buy the book, but then went, actually, what am I doing to myself? Because I enjoyed the TV show, but it did take me a while to recover. That looks so good. I bought it at Comic Con last year, I think. And because they had a signed copy of Forbidden Planet and I haven't read it yet. I really need to pick it up. This is the question.
Exactly.
So
I'm waiting. I'm waiting because they are releasing half and half, and I rather binge it in one go. So I'm waiting for the other ones.
Have you watched any, Sharon, or is that just too far out of your wheelhouse?
Yes.
I mean, nobody gets murdered or turns into any kind of creature, so it's not really
anything. You know me, Amy. Anything with romance just gives me the ick.
Yeah, I mean, I do like a little bit of romance, but I like it to be balanced out with a body count. So generally, oh yay! Chloe thinks that they are good.
My sister absolutely loves it. My family loves it. Loves Bridgerton, but you know, everybody's different, aren't they? So you were a little bit what you fancy does you good, darling.
Exactly. I'm realizing this more and more the older I get. I'm like, if I want to rewatch Heart of Dixie or Gilmore Girls, I'm going to watch that. Speaking of romance,
watch them.
The fourth is something special. Caroline, it sounds like you need to. Hi.
Hi, Helena.
We're covering every subject tonight. Anybody joining us from Bridgerton to horror. So, someone else's life. That sounds pretty chilling from that title. Haven't heard of the author, but that sounds good.
My glasses are hurting my eyes. I've took them off, so I can't see now. So that's
I'll read them to you, Sharon. I'm currently reading a total of 34 books, says Mrs. Peacock, and
what in one go?
I think started, like you.
Yeah, I sometimes look at my Goodreads and think, oh no, I'm reading 10 books.
That might be a new record, though. I've never heard of 34 at the same time.
I mean, last week I had 7 on the go at one point, but and that was too many. And I had to just stop and finish them all because it was annoying me. But 34, dearie-o. Have you got ADHD, Mrs. Peacock? Because my sister has the same problem. She has ADHD, but she picks one up, she'll read a bit and then put it down, and she just can't. And she's got dozens, all of them started. And but yeah, good for you. How do you know where you are?
I can manage about 3, I think, before I start to get confused. I'm feeling a bit fragmented. I think I'm probably on about 5 at the moment, and I need to just stop it.
I mean, it depends. If they're all the same subgenre, it might be complicated. But if I have like a romance, a slasher, I don't know, a murder mystery, then I can tell them apart a lot easier. But I couldn't do a lot of the same subgenre because then I think I would get confused.
I accidentally read 2 YA thrillers together before Christmas. I was reading one on my Kindle and one on the book, and I was so confused who all the characters were. I kept thinking the killer was in one book and they were in the other book. It was so bad. So yeah, I've never done that before, Kasha, and I'll try not to again because I couldn't. I didn't enjoy either book because I just ruined it for myself. Ooh,
I always have at least 2. So I'm always reading one downstairs, and I'm always reading a non-fiction on my Kindle in my bedroom, because although I love horror, I'm not insane enough to read a horror just before I go to sleep. Not that I have nightmares, not that I'm sleeping, but not that I have nightmares. But
I mean,
I always have a non-fiction. No,
I read whatever it is, even if it's disturbing, and I start falling asleep while somebody's head is being chopped off, and I'm like, oh, I'm missing the good parts. Jeez.
I have occasionally done it just to see if it gives me an interesting dream, and it does work. Like if you're trying to come up with book ideas, read horror before bed because it really messes up your dreams, or it does for me.
I do it every day, so maybe I'm used to it.
Yeah, maybe.
It doesn't give me nightmares, but I just don't want to risk it because I'm not. Yeah. I just don't want to risk it because I'm not sleeping that well anyway, so I don't want to risk anything in waking me up.
No, that's a very good idea.
I've got those books, The Watchers, the AM Shine.
That's what I was going to ask as well. So they're books as well. Is
I
there
just
a TV
read it.
show?
No, it's a movie coming out.
Oh, okay. I thought
so. I read the book very quickly, like 2-3 days, because the trailer is going around, and I don't want to be spoiled. So I just like quickly read the book because I'm like, yeah, it's quite nice. I mean, it's kind of like A Quiet Place or Bird Box, that kind of vibe, you know, where there's this creatures and people are trying to survive, and it's really cool. I really liked it. It's told from multiple POVs. Basically, it follows Mina. She is driving with her car. Her car breaks down. Electronics are not working. She goes into the woods trying to see if somebody lives there in a cabin to ask for help. She ends up in this concrete shelter.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
And everybody that's in the shelter is trapped there, and they tell her she can never leave anymore because there's creatures outside. And now she's stuck in this kind of concrete shelter with the other people. And the creatures are called the Watchers. And yeah, it's cool. I enjoyed it. It took a turn I didn't anticipate, so it's a quick read. So I think, Sharon, you're gonna read it in like 1 hour.
There's two, isn't there? There's a follow-on to it as well, isn't
there?
Yeah,
the Creeper.
The Creeper. I've got both of them on my Kindle, but everyone who I know who's read it has really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
so I really should get to that.
Yeah, now I can watch the movie in peace.
I didn't know it was a book, so I made the cardinal error. I nearly watched the film without, so I'm glad you've told me, and I can make sure that I try and read the book first.
Yeah.
Oh, Percy Jackson.
I love the Percy Jackson books. I love them so much. They're just such fun.
They're the best books to read to kids. I used to read them to my year 5 class. I'd read at least one and then say, go forth and read the rest. I've given you a gift of the Percy Jackson books. Stormbreaker too, that age group, love the Alex Rider books. Just Bridgerton book 5.
I started to buy the books on my Kindle to see if sometimes I feel like reading them because I really enjoy the show. So maybe at some point I'll pick them up.
I'd love to know what you think of them, because I know that you're like mostly horror, aren't you? But with like the occasional like beautifully fluffy thing in between, like Heartstopper.
Yeah. The new season is coming out in October, so you're going to need Netflix by then.
This is the problem. I haven't watched any of it. She sobs. I've read the books. I know.
Painful.
It's really bad. It hurts me to not watch Gilmore Girls too. I've been watching it because we still have access to my brothers on the iPad, and it's not the same. I've been trying to watch bits of Gilmore Girls on the iPad, and I need it on my TV.
I have all the physical seasons of Gilmore Girls.
Oh yeah, in fact, maybe I do. Maybe I need to dig out my DVD player. This could be the answer. Yes. So the if you talk about The Gathering, I don't know what bit the conversation on, but if you're talking about The Gathering with CJ Tudor, I did interview her on my channel if you want to find it.
Yes.
Oh, so you're 45% into, I can't remember which book, Kay. I've lost it, but I'm glad you're enjoying whatever it is. I'm trying to scroll back through. There's lots of comments. Hi, that sounds like such a pure evening of enjoyment. Have fun. Hannah's playing the new Wii.
What you playing on the Wii? What are you playing on the Wii, Hannah? Is it
a little bit of? We need to make Sharon t-shirts. A little bit of what you fancy does you good, darling, and it needs the darling at the end just to drive the point home. Can we just have Sharon branded t-shirts? Actually, we'll write down every catchphrase.
Yes,
we need somebody to illustrate them.
I always get loads whenever I do a video. Somebody, like I do a chatty video on Instagram or TikTok. Somebody will come out and say, Sharon, please, can you get a t-shirt with "There's that" on it? Because I say it all the time. I don't even realize I say it. There's that.
There's that. You need a list of them, Sharon. They can be in a book. They can be in a t-shirt. It's just multi-purpose catchphrases. Yeah, so I think the way we're doing it is Kasia is streaming on her channel and I'm streaming on mine, so you can watch it on either or both, and both of us get the views, so we share the love. I mean, I think a lot of us could say that. I
tried
sometimes
to, but
wonder
it won't
about
let me.
the way I work. Oh, it's
Yeah, I
fine.
mean,
Don't worry. The way I work is to dot
I
around.
didn't mean to medically. I apologise, Mrs. Peacock. I didn't mean to medically diagnose you. I'm not a doctor. Well, I am a doctor, but not of medicine. Yeah, I apologise.
For anybody who's not seen Sharon on one of my chats, Sharon drops in things like this, like she was casually on tour with some rock band or travelled across this country or has a doctorate in this subject. I'm just not surprised anymore. Like, I think somebody needs to write your life story, Sharon, and like maybe a mildly fictionalized version so people don't know what's true and what's not. I think that would be amazing.
I think I'd probably be sued.
I was just thinking, is this where you go very quiet and shy and be like, oh God, the CIA don't want me to say this. I'm just going to leave now.
No, absolutely. I'm probably on a list somewhere.
I'm sure I am with my things I Google, so it's fine. We can be on the list together. Like, where can you stab somebody and them not die? I'm a novelist. It's fine. I don't know whether anybody would take that as a defense. So, has anybody used that? I'm a novelist defense to murder. Not planning to read.
It was the first time for everything.
Just fictional murder, which is a lot better. I'm currently reading The Cat and the Pendulum. I've never heard of that. A cozy mystery about cats. That sounds delightful for cat fans.
So is the cat swinging on the pendulum? Because I feel that's what a cat would do.
Or
right? The cat would be swinging.
Like yeah. Yeah, that is my ideal, Caroline. And I occasionally get chaotic and throw in extra physical books and then occasionally an extra Kindle one. And that's how you suddenly get to 5 and you go, I'm doing this wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think Mrs. Peacock's taking offense, Sharon. I think we're fine. Yeah, I mean, I read a little bit of it. I think you're probably in my room more on Sharon's side. I'm a little bit of a romance dabbler, but I do prefer horror and thrillers generally. Everything.
I don't mind so much if he's sweet. I don't mind if he's like if he's not overly romantic. Like I read the Roommate is a Vampire one that you recommended.
Oh yeah,
and I love that. I thought that was incredibly sweet, but it was mainly because it was funny. I found it really funny, and it wasn't overly romantic. I could skip over the kissy bits, so it was fine. So I really enjoyed that. You know what I mean? So, but if it's overtly kind of, romantic, which period dramas tend to be, then it's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. I get the ick. I can't help it.
No, I get it. I loved in My Roommate's a Vampire how she's so oblivious. She's just like, oh, he has a secret refrigerator. How strange. I'll not investigate that at all. A cupboard I can't go in. Fine. And I was just like, come on, open the cupboard, check what's in his fridge, query him on like the weird smears around his mouth, ask some questions, lady. Watch some vampire films.
And he sleeps all day and he goes out all night, but he doesn't work. Okay.
No.
Bit suspicious.
And he seems to have amassed a large fortune and all of his windows have incredible curtains. Like, she doesn't put it together. And it's done really nicely. Like, I do think if vampires were real, hope, that this is how they're existing just because people are so oblivious to them.
Yeah, it was sweet. It was very sweet.
I mean, if I pick up a romance, I want it to be enemies to lovers, because then there's a lot of banter. They're kind of like aggression, and it's very funny. I mean, you're gonna end up together, but I like more than the sweet, like pukey, love. I just like the banter when it's enemies to lovers. That's one of my favorite tropes. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think
so. Aggressive romance is a genre now.
Yes,
aggressive romance.
Yes.
That's a new genre, right?
Aggressive smut. That's my subgenre.
Okay, taking note when I write adult books. This is good to know. Oh yeah, I think that's right. Like, wait to read a book until you are going to enjoy it. Yes, agreed. Yeah, I'm on the same page as you.
We do too.
Yes.
They are. No.
Yes, last night I watched it.
And
I've got that on the watch list.
I know this story. I liked it. I did not love it because it was just not for me, I guess. Like, I knew going in that it was probably not going to be the greatest movie release of this year. And for me, it just had many flaws. and I cannot overlook them. It had a couple of good moments, but that was it. Yeah, but I'm really excited about Long Legs coming out this year. So keep your eyes for that one, because I think that's gonna be the one for me this year.
Isn't there a
I'm
Dracula?
so looking forward to Nosferatu.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
waiting
but
for Nosferatu. I
it's the
can't
end
wait
of the
for that.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, and isn't
one.
there a? Is the one called? Is it called the Demeter or something? There's one about the ship from Dracula.
That's last year.
Oh, was it? Is this already out? Have I missed this one?
I watched it in the cinema last year.
Was it good?
The last voyage of the Demeter. Yeah, it was fine.
You know which one I like? Have you two seen Renfield? Because I really enjoyed that.
Yes,
I feel like
that one was funny. Yeah,
it was terrible.
That was fun.
It was like perfect B movie kind of like. I really enjoyed Nicolas Cage as Dracula. I thought it was just terrible and brilliant at the same time. And I just love Nicholas Hoult. I think he can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure there are films out there that will disagree with me, but I love him in that. I love him in Warm Bodies. I just think he's really, when he's doing quirky horror stuff, I think he's really good. So The Strangers Chapter 1 is Destroy's favourite movie of the year so far, demonstrating that you were right, Kasha. Definitely one of the Destroy liked, and we all like different stuff. Oh, that's so nice. I'm having a real women horror moment too. So if you want to look me up on social media, it's my thing at the minute of trying to read loads of female horror authors like Jennifer Thorne, who wrote Diavola, and CJ Tudor. I just think it's nice to have a different perspective that, you know, as much as I love Stephen King, that's a very narrow perspective that isn't like mine. So it's great.
I'm not sure where you are, Helena, but I'm a big proponent of indie horror and a big proponent of women authors in indie horror. And we're doing a convention on Bank Holiday weekend in Birmingham on the 24th of August, which is going to have 20 horror authors from all over the UK and Ireland. Well, see, you should have come over. Come over, darling. And so there's going to be some fantastic indie authors: MJ Marsley, Kenny, Sarah Jules. It's just going to be fantastic. I can't wait to hug them all to bits. They're a bit worried about that because, you know, writers by their very nature are quite introverted, but I am going to hug them, and they've been warned. It's at the Night Owl, Night Owl, which is in Digbeth in Birmingham.
Okay, cool.
If you follow me anywhere on social media, it's all on there. So it's just going to be such fun. It's free entry, author panels. I'm doing a live blog all day, interviewing the authors. So it's going to be good fun.
It sounds fab. I'm really tempted to come. Just need to check what I'm doing, but if I'm not away,
Amelia's coming down. You know, Amelia's coming down with her husband.
Awesome.
She's coming down for the day. Yeah.
Yes. Lots of love.
If you're close to Birmingham, come and see us.
Yeah, I mean, this happens on TikTok too, doesn't it? Like sometimes you feel like you're looking at the same 3 books over and over again, so it's nice. So this particular group, I don't have a Discord for that. I just do live streams. But Sharon has one for your indie book club, don't you?
Indie horror book club. Yeah, I do have a Discord.
Yeah. So
again, that's on my social media or on YouTube.
Yeah, it's like a constant thought in my mind when I'm writing certain scenes. I'm like, if anybody could read, because sometimes I have to get toned down at the editing stage too, and I'm like, I don't want these drafts to ever get leaked anyway.
I'm just researching, I promise.
You know, there was a month that I watched so many true crime documentaries on Netflix that I thought the police was going to come and be like, you okay?
They're going to flag you.
Are you planning something? Like, is all well with you?
Yeah.
Have
you laid any new patio recently? That's what you got to watch for.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's the question that should be asked in every cozy mystery program. Part of the number 2 Feline Detective Agency.
Feline Detective Agency.
Oh,
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I love slasher 90s slasher films. It's so good. It's like, what's that noise upstairs? I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go by myself to check.
Yeah.
Like, it's so great.
That lonely house. Do you think they have a phone? Let's go to that lonely old house. Surrounded by darkness.
Yeah, and House of Wax. I'm just going to go and look in the creepy room with all like the
why not?
No, but
they
it's
deserve
not
to die.
But the thing with the strangers is not that they make dumb decisions, which they do, but some things are done in such an unrealistic way that I just cannot unsee that. Like this girl is making a phone call and she goes outside on the patio to finish the phone call in like 1 second and come back in, but they need her to go out just to show the woods and come back, and it's not needed. Like no regular person would do that. Like I'm finishing a phone call, I'm going out saying goodbye and coming back in just so that the camera can pan through the woods to show that there is danger. It's like, it's just, I was like, it's so forced. It's like you're forcing the shot because you need to create the, atmosphere that way, and it's forced. And there were a lot of things like that I was like, I just can't. I just can't.
No, it's really annoying, isn't it? Oh, not far. That's cool. London is the place for book events, definitely. Hi, Melina.
Next year it's called the Indie Horror Chapter, and next year we'll be in Reading.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Chloe, come along. Say hello. You get cuddled. Sorry, that sounds weird. You get cuddled.
Yeah.
Cuddled.
Yes, yeah, that's a better cuddle gesture. You might get arrested.
That's a bit. Sorry, that's a bit creepy.
Yeah. Yes, Sharon's page has all the info on Instagram. Is probably a good place. Oh,
just message me on YouTube and I'll get back to you.
Cool. I love Dracula. I love Dracula. I really need to read that.
Oh yeah, I've read that. It looks
good.
Yeah. And when you reviewed it, Kesha, I was like, I need to read this, and then I instantly thought about it. Awesome. Fingers crossed you enjoy it. I don't know which picture. I'm sorry, I've lost track of. Oh, the Dracula one. Oh. Yeah, I will look it up, Stephen. Thank you for mentioning it. I will track it down. Yay!
Yeah, you going to Melina. I can't wait to give you. I can't wait to give Melina's one of our Tales Point horror girls. She's one of our Tales Point horror family. So yeah, she's coming. Hopefully, Shelley's coming too. So so lots of huggles will be had.
Excellent. Yeah. I do need to come. You've convinced me. I knew about it. I've just forgot. That's the story of my life right now. Oh, good. Chloe and Sharon.
I'll get back to you, sweetie.
Get that sorted. Right. Let's do a sprint. It's been a lovely chat, but I feel like we need to go and do some productivity. I'm going to be reading a manuscript. I'm going to cover back on just so that you can. I'm going to show you the edge of it, but not like. This is what I'm reading now. My next year book.
Oh.
That's all I'm going to say on the matter. Moving on swiftly. I've marked where we're up to in the comments, so let's do 40 minutes and I will see you all in a while. Hello, hello. Just mute everybody. How did you get on? How was it, Sharon?
Well, it was all right, apart from the fact the cat's been sick twice. So I've had to dash.
Oh,
There's
no.
nothing that moves a cat owner quicker than a cat throwing up in another room, is there? And it's Merlin, because he's such a greedy little thing. So everybody's eating, and he's just finished everybody else's food. So then he threw up like 2 minutes in, and then he just threw up again about 10 minutes ago. I only cleaned the carpets last week.
Oh, no.
Bless you. So Kev's just sneezing in the background.
Apart from that, the book's very good.
Oh, good. Which one was
the
it?
bit that I read?
I got distracted. It was the Ivy Tolan one, was it?
The Morats. Yeah, it's good. I really like her writing. It's really easy to read. Do you know what I mean? And this is as Tash said, it's like in the 90s, so it's kind of quite nostalgic. And the dialogue, she writes really good, snappy dialogue. It's fun, very, very fast read. So yeah, it's good fun. So I'm probably going to stick with that for the next sprint.
Right, I couldn't stop reading Taste Like Candy. It was one of those where I just kept picking it up in every spare minute until I'd finished, because I really wanted to know what happened. And her writing is just really like compulsively readable. I think you just want to keep on going, especially because they're short.
Yeah,
well,
and
Mallrats long.
Yeah, Mallrats is about 350, which is quite a big
almost
for
200 pages.
horror.
Yeah.
So it's but it's reading very quick. So but she just writes the most wonderful teenage dialogue, and that can be often quite difficult, can't it? You know yourself.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, she just writes it, and you think, yeah, that's exactly how teenagers deal with each other and speak to each other and interact, and so it's I find it quite fun. Do you know what I mean? And there was a very gruesome death in the first chapter, so fabulous.
That's just what you need in horror, as long as it keeps up and then you don't get 200 pages of nothing, because that's my only complaint ever with slashers. I like it to keep on building and then just never let up. Like, with stuff like Scream, where you get the death and then it drops a little bit, but then it kind of, they just keep on coming. That's what I want. I don't want like lots of pages of not a lot happening in a slasher.
And I know you're a big fan of Stephen Graham Jones, haven't you? Like the My Heart is a Chainsaw.
Yes.
I've got that trilogy. I've never read it because everybody I speak to says it's very, very slow to start. And I think, oh, am I going to start? I've bought all 3 books. This is how insane we are, book people, right? But it's I'm frightened to start it because I love these other stuff, but I'm scared I won't like it. Even though it's a slow build, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I listened to the audiobooks, and it was when I was working quite far away, and so I could listen to like an hour and a bit in a day, so I got through it quite quickly that way. But the third one isn't the audiobook, and I am reading that really slowly. I was buddy reading it with someone who's since DNF'd it, so I haven't picked it up again just because I waited for her for a while. But yeah, not a lot has happened, and I have read 100 pages, so that's the only problem with them, I think.
And the thing is, I think it falls very neatly into kind of people either absolutely love it or they can't stand it. And so it's so I'm kind of, at some point I'm going to just read it. So they're not that long, are they? They're like 400 pages, aren't they? Something
They're
like
quite chunky, I think. Maybe more like 500.
I mean, that's only half a day's reading, isn't it? So it's
or 3 weeks for me, Sharon. But
for me, I mean, well, you've got a baby, darling. It's very different. Well, there's only me and a cat. The cats, that's it, really. Nothing disturbs me, so I can sit.
Just a bit of vomit, a little bit of like throwing up every now and again.
I know, right? Oh yeah, no little children about. You see, it's very dependent on what mood little boy's in, isn't it? I'm not going to say his name because I don't like to say his name online. But it's like it depends what mood he's in, doesn't it? As that dictates your day.
Yeah, I don't do much reading when he's awake. Let's suffice to say, and generally, if I do, it's just because if say he's watching something on TV, I'll maybe read for 5 minutes, but it will be 5 minutes. So yeah, this is why I'm not reading much this month as well. I've just kicked over my tea. She went to pass me a towel. There's not much of it. There's, like where there's half a centimetre left in your tea and then it makes a massive mess. Luckily, it's not.
I'm quite slow this month. This is only my 12th book of the month.
Oh, Sharon, I've read one.
but that's half of what I would normally read. I've had big periods of time where I just didn't want to read, which is unusual for me, but I wanted to watch stuff instead. So I've been watching films and series, and I just fancied watching rather than reading. But yeah, so I'm like, that's a bit rubbish, 12 books. But for me, that's not a lot. Do you know what I mean? So it's but yeah, I've enjoyed what I've read though, so that's the main thing, isn't it?
That is really good. Yeah, I mean, I try not to judge by how much I've read or by how much other people do. I think it is what's normal for you, isn't it?
Yeah,
I tend
exactly.
My sweet spot is between 6 and 8. If I've read 6 and 8 to 8, I feel like I've had plenty of time to read that month and had some time to myself. This month I've read 1, so it shows it's been a bit of a kind of frantic
how busy
month.
you've been. Yeah.
And I can't really put my finger on why, but yeah, it just has been one of those months, I think. How about you, Kasia? Did you have a good read in that sprint?
Yeah, I read 46 pages. I decided to pick up Diabola and see how I like it before it gets too late, because if it's slow and I pick it up for the last sprint, then maybe I fall asleep.
Yeah.
So I thought I'll start with this. I mean, so far it's fine. Nothing, I mean, not much has happened. It's a family that goes for a summer holiday to Italy, and I guess they have this kind of holidays all together regularly, and Anna, our main character, is not really excited about it, because I feel like she's one of those people, like there's always one in the family that doesn't feel like she belongs to her with her family, that she's very much different. And sometimes the family makes comments about her life that are quite inappropriate, but the family always, family members always sometimes asks you something that is inappropriate, but it's all for fun. Oh, it was a joke, or it was fun. I think we've all been through that, especially as females. You get more judged, or you have a boyfriend and you're getting married, or you're having children. Things that maybe a man is not asked about as much. So like I can feel about more for her in that regard, because I've also been like the black sheep of my family, like liking things that nobody else in my family likes, like horror or other stuff, heavy metal and
me too.
other things. So like I feel a little bit for her in that regard, not being like the majority of my family is in a lot of ways. So yeah, but nothing too creepy has happened yet. They have gotten like a villa for everybody to stay there, and apparently there seem to like the family members seem to be able to hear people talking or footsteps when there's nobody in the rooms so far. Stuff like that. So we'll see.
I don't think you'll find it scary. I found it
Probably not.
Yeah, I found it creepy. I wouldn't say I was scared, but I found it very atmospheric, especially as it goes on. The kind of suffocating atmosphere of the family builds as you find out more about the place, and hopefully, if that pulls you in, then you'll have a good time.
Have either of you read Exquisite Corpses yet?
No, it's on my pile. I bought it this month. I read the back, and then everybody told me how extreme it is, and I'm like, I'm a bit scared.
I can't say anything because I'm recording a vlog where I read disturbing books, so that's one of them. That's gonna be on my blog. Yeah,
even I was a little bit.
Yeah,
even I was a little bit. Just in the first chapter, I was like, "Oh." I found it fascinating. Got to be honest, but it is a little bit more on the extreme level of horror. The detail, especially.
I need to read it.
Yeah, it is. But it's brilliantly written. It's brilliantly written. The prose is horrific and gory and gruesome, but beautiful. But the first chapter, I was like, "Oh, okay, okay, we'll see where this is going."
I might film myself reading the first chapter just to see what my reactions are for you. But
it's a good warning, the first chapter. Then you don't have to go on, because if you read a lot and then you get to a point where something like that happens, you're like, "Oh, if I would have known before."
There's no holds barred. My sister read it last week. Yeah. She was here, my sister, and she loves romance. She loves Bridgerton. She loves smut. She loves all that stuff, my sister, right? And she says, she started reading the first chapter, and she went,
"No,
is this the kind of crap you read? I mean, that's not the word she used, but anyway, you know what I mean? I'm like, well, yeah. And she went, I'm worried about you. But she's still reading it, so there you go.
It sounds like it's stuff that I don't find too triggering. Like, I find that subject quite safe, weirdly, but I don't know whether it delves into any of the stuff that I don't like, so I'll have to see.
There's no kids in it, darling. There's no little kids, so you're safe with regards to that. But it's kind of, it's just so the first chapter's like, whoa, smack in the face. Okay, now we know where we are, right? I know I like that. A lot of indie horror, extreme indie horrors like that, where the first chapter's like, whoosh, okay, this is where we're going, so you know what you're getting. So yeah, but I thought it was really good. I thought it was really well written, in my opinion.
I might try and read it next month. I don't know when. I'm a bit scared. I haven't read anything really extreme for a while. I like the stuff like The Taste Like Candy and European Falls, like that kind of level of slasher where you get a bit of gore and a bit of gruesome, but it's not intense. Like, it's quite fleeting, isn't it? I think the really intense, prolonged, I don't know how I'll cope with that. It's a short book, but I'm imagining a lot of it is like that.
I am really looking forward to seeing Alan. Alan Shivers is coming over to Birmingham.
Oh, is
from
it?
Belgium. Yeah, or Michiel, he's called, actually. His real name is Michiel. And so he's coming over with his best friend. And so I'll probably be with them on the evening, because all the other authors are going drinking. I don't drink. So we'll be going out for coffee, which is far more European and far more civilized than getting drunk.
Well, you can go out and have something else, like with them, you know.
Well, I think, because I don't drink anymore, it's no fun being around drunk people, because you end up being their carer, don't you?
Yeah.
You end up having to herd them, and it's like herding kittens when they're on skates. It's no fun when you're not drinking yourself. So
no, and you end up taking responsibility, don't you? And then feeling bad if people do silly stuff, and it's like,
or get hurt. So I will be with them for a little while, and then once it gets to a level, I'll walk away.
Yeah, that's me now. I don't drink either, and I do tend to avoid nights out for that reason, just because I know. And it's quite handy for your old accomplice, say at weddings, we stay for the dinner, and then I'm like, oh, it's bedtime now. And I mean for myself, as the small person.
Fair.
And Alan's like me, we need to find somewhere nice to eat. You know what I mean? He's far more civil. We need to find somewhere nice to eat. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. I don't. They just want to go out drinking. I want food. So
yeah, that's fair.
Far more civilized.
Yeah, the correct priorities there.
Yes.
Okay, good. So we have happy readers and writers. I did a bit of reading and then realised.
Jen.
Hi, Jen.
How did your first day go, my darling? She started a job as a librarian today. Let us know how it went, sweetie. We're thinking about you all day.
Please do. That's really exciting. That's awesome.
That's brilliant.
I read a bit. I read a bit of my manuscript, and then realised that I'd got loads of admin to do. So I very quickly went and sent some emails that I need to send. So I'm probably going to be on admin for the rest of the night.
I really enjoyed Driver's Dead. Did you manage to read that, Amy? I really enjoyed it.
Halfway through, I had just run out of time to read it before the live, but I'm going to do what Kirsty's doing. I tend to watch them late if I haven't read them by the end of the month.
Tommy was such a sweetheart. I've read his book, The Changing Man, which I really enjoyed. But he was such a sweet man. It was very funny, the discussion, and the cat's fine, just greedy, Kirsty.
Ate too much.
I did an event with him on Halloween last year, and he was really lovely. Like,
he's
really
such a sweet man.
He's very cool and chill and just deliberate.
Very laid back.
Like, you feel very calm around him. Whereas I'm there really frantic and nervous for an event. He's just calm. And he's, new to it as well. That was his debut.
Hi, Claire. You're never late, my darling.
Exactly. You just
right,
what does Gandalf say? A wizard is never late. He always arrives exactly the moment he was meant to arrive, or words to that effect. I need to learn that quick. I frequently need the sentiment of that.
Yeah, well, I don't mind a cocktail. Yes. I quite like a mocktail, Chloe. Quite like a mocktail because they're pretty. So, I'll have one of them, but nobody wants to see me drunk, honestly.
There's some places. What's it called? I feel like it's not Botanic Garden or something. There's
the botanicals. There's one in London, isn't there? I mean, there's a
there's
big
a
place in
restaurant
London, and they do all the things with the smoke coming out and all that. I think it's called the Botanicals or something like that. Yeah, you're right.
And they do really good mocktails. Because last time I went with people who had cocktails, and I had a mocktail, and that feels nice. Like, just a couple of those compared to a couple of cocktails. That feels like, God.
I'm glad it went well, darling.
I'm really pleased for you, because it will only ever get better after your first day. I think a first day can be really overwhelming, can't it?
And can you imagine walking into a library and seeing Jen? I mean, she would make your day, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you walked in and she was your librarian, you'd be like, I'm in good hands. It's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be good now.
Definitely. I've never heard of it. Have either of you watched that?
I've watched it. I enjoy season 1 more than 2. It's basically a town that it's in the middle of nowhere, and certain people, for whatever reason, end up driving through it. Something happens on the road, and they have to take that turn, and they all end up in this little town. And once you get there, you cannot get out.
Okay.
You can drive with your car trying to get out. You will loop and end up back in the town. And the people that live there have gotten used to it, and they have tried to build a society there. But also at night, they have to board like their windows and everything and not let anything in, because there's some creatures outside that talk to you and want to get into your house, obviously, to kill you. So it's like an isolated town where once you get in, you cannot get out. And there's creatures that come at night. So nights are dangerous and you have to protect yourself. And they have limited resources because obviously they are cut off completely from civilization. So they don't have phones, internet, water and food are, something that they're trying to figure out, trying to plant stuff and try to survive. So it's interesting. It gets a little bit supernaturally, but I enjoyed season 1 more than 2 for some reason. But I'm still excited for the third one.
Is that based on a book, Asha? Because that sounds like a book plot to me, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound like something I've read before?
Have you read Under the Dome by Stephen King? It sounds a bit like that, where they end up trapped under.
Yeah, they end up under this.
And
they have similar problems like food and water, and I think that whoever happens to be in the town at the point that the dome comes down is just stuck there. So people are passing through. Like there was one guy who I think had killed somebody, or he was a hitman and he'd been sent there to do this thing, and then he got trapped there, and it's like, oh God, I'm trapped with these people.
Autumn Crow did it, didn't it, Amy?
Yeah.
Well, you've read Autumn Crow. Autumn Crow, if you go to Autumn Crow, you can't leave. Didn't that was in the first book, wasn't it? In the first stories.
I think it
might if you can get in there, you can't come out. You have to end up staying there. Perhaps that's what I'm thinking. Is that on Netflix?
I keep saying, is this?
I have it on HBO, I think.
HBO.
I think. But you need to check because in the UK it might be in another streaming service.
Oh yeah.
Depends on the.
It sounds like something I'd like, so I'm going to look at that.
Yeah, it's nice because it's always also the question, who's the authority, who makes the call on what happens to people when they misbehave and stuff, because you don't have a society as such anymore. There's no rules, there's no police. So to say, somebody's appointed as the sheriff or whatever, but it's a little bit loose.
It's on Prime here. It's on Prime, so I can watch it on Prime. Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Thank you for that recommendation. Whoever, I can't remember who put it up now, but thank you.
It was Helena.
Helena, thank you.
I'm going to check it out as well. The Botanist.
Botanist, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Oh, it's nice, Kay.
Oh, I like you
as well. Oh, you deserve it, Jan.
She's lovely, Jen.
Oh, Now TV.
Oh, Now TV too. I don't think I've got Now TV.
A more clear ending would really help, and a satisfying ending, hopefully, as well. I'm rewatching Alias. I never watched the end of Alias. Which
I love that series.
It was so good at the beginning. It was by the creators of Lost, for anyone who doesn't know. And I got to season 4 and totally lost the plot. Sorry about the Lost reference again. And I'd got them on DVD, and I didn't ever crack open the 5th DVD. I just don't know why. So I'm going to try and rewatch it and then get to the end and see what happens. So I'm hoping
she's so beautiful, isn't she? Honestly.
She's amazing, and I love the relationship So she's a secret agent, and she very quickly becomes a double agent. So it's not much of a spoiler. And so she's a double agent for these two different sides, and she has a handler for one of them, played by Michael Vartan, and he is so sweet, and I just love him. And they have this really good banter between them. Not exactly enemies to lovers, but I think, Kasia, you probably appreciate the banter. Did you say you've watched it, Kasia?
Alias, no. I've heard of it, but I've never watched it.
It's good fun, yeah. I mean, I'm still traumatized by Lost, aren't we all? Mainly about the hours and hours and months are wasted and that I'm never getting back. I'm still traumatized by Lost, so I'm always reluctant to watch something that could be multiple seasons, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think with Lost, what annoyed me was it had so much potential and so many clues were dropped that were just never picked up on, and they were explained in silly ways, and then when you got to the ending, you're like, oh, I understand why they explained it in silly ways, but still, it's no excuse.
It happens to many TV shows when they try to like extend the plot more than they should. When they start to stretch, and you're feeling it, you feel that they are like stretching because the pacing changes. You know, the pacing is not what it used to be, and you're like, oh, the writers are starting to be like, we need to stretch this for as many seasons as we can, and that's when it starts to go downhill in a lot of TV shows. I think.
The first few seasons were brilliant. The first few seasons were fantastic. It was compelling. It was brilliant. But and you kept watching because you wanted them to tie those things up, and loads of them they never tied up. At the end, you were like, well, okay, was that it? I could have thrown the television out the window that night.
But it was meant to be 2 seasons, I heard. And they wanted the original concept, I think, was pitched as 2 seasons. So that arc would have tied up. And I think that a lot of the stuff they introduced that went a bit wilder, some of which I liked and some of which I didn't.
Yeah.
A lot of that, I think, was to compensate for the padding out. And I think that never really works.
It's probably somewhere online fan fiction, isn't it? Because I really loved Angel. I loved the end of Angel. I loved that last episode. I know a lot of people didn't, but I loved that. But online, that's carried on. Fan fiction carries on with those storyline and what happens after they fight all of the denizens of hell, you know? So I suspect it's somewhere online. Some Lost fans have tied those up somewhere, I reckon.
I hope so. I don't mind an open ending. I mind an unsatisfying cop-out. It's like the equivalent of Alice in Wonderland. And then she woke up. You know, I can't. In modern society, we don't need to be doing that anymore. Like, I get,
Bobby Ewing woke up. Oh, he was in a shower the whole time. Wasn't he? Bobby Ewing woke up in a shower. And then they had a whole season where it was the dog dreaming. I mean, like, come on, please. No. I'm going back. I'm sorry, I'm showing my age now. Sorry, that was in the 80s.
No, this is fine. And I don't mind odd one-off episodes, like, the Breaking Bad one that's from the point of view of a fly, like a literal fly on the wall. Like, that's fine for a one-off, but you can't eke out a whole season of that stuff. No, thank you, not for me. Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I think you're right.
We went to the Others camp. The Others camp is in on Oahu, I think. And we went to the Lost Beach too. And to get to the Lost Beach, there's a road around Oahu, and we landed in Honolulu in the south, I think it is. My geography's terrible. And then we had to drive all the way around the coast because of the way the roads work. It's not very well connected. So we drove to this beach, and we were on our own on the Lost Beach. It was so good. And we lined up, like, the shots from the opening season where you'd see the fuselage on one part of the beach and the people on the other and stuff.
Yeah.
It was so amazing. I definitely need to go back there. I loved Hawaii. But yeah, it's sad that Lost itself didn't quite.
I agree with you. I think, season 3 wasn't too bad, but then it fell off for me after that. But, I'm addicted by that point.
There was something to do with the character Desmond that happened that I lost it. I was like, no, that can't happen now. I've done with it. And Kev persevered because he quite likes that particular angle. I'm trying not to say it to spoil, because there might be some people who think I'm going to watch Lost now for all these years.
Oh, don't watch it. Don't watch it. That's my advice.
Yeah, I know.
Don't even start.
I would. Do you know what? I loved season 1. I feel like if you watch season 1 and just stop,
you'll be fine.
You will be fine, because it's so well put together. The advert that was like, one of us is a murderer, one of us is a cop, all of us are guilty, all of us whatever. I can't remember the exact lines, and then you had to figure out who those people were. I loved that. As soon as you knew who everybody was, I just lost interest. I keep saying lost. I'm really sorry. I'm very tired. The only way,
The
maybe just
the interpersonal connect that the characters as they interacted in the first season is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Sawyer, Kate, and Jack. It's just so messy, and that's what I love in relationship stuff. It's really good.
Yeah, I agree.
It's getting quite late, so I'm debating whether I just do one more sprint. I'll see how
We've done a lot of chatting, haven't we, loves?
Yeah, but it's
Sorry
been
about
lovely. I'm never going to say no to chatting to you two. But I'm just conscious that I'm already getting sleepy, and incoherence will commence. So we'll do
a 40 minutes or whatever, and then
and then we'll catch up at the end and see how we feel. Oh no!
Oh no!
I totally.
Oh, exciting! I've got a fox in my garden, Chloe. Got a little fox and a mummy and a baby fox playing at the bottom of my garden at the moment. So I'm going to go out in a minute and give them some food. Yeah.
We have a hedgehog. We have a hedgehog that comes all the time. And my partner has built him a little house and he's put it in the garden.
I have a hedgehog house, Kasha. I have a hedgehog house.
Yeah. He built it like from old furniture we were throwing out. And we put like a little bowl and we bought hedgehog food and we put it there every night. And we hear him munching. Sometimes in the middle of the night you hear croak. And we're like, oh, the hedgehog is there.
Cute.
I've got a hedgehog house as well. Oh, there's a cat. Hello, I don't know you. You better get out my garden. You better get out, babe.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could be watching cute animals, or you could be watching police.
Oh, he's the most beautiful cat.
Oh
God, why are you running around so anyway? Enough.
Near foxes and near Sharon's cats. That's just good idea, Cat. Right, let's do a sprint, and I will see you all in a little while. Hello. How did we get on? How did it go, Sheriff?
Yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it. It's good fun.
Good.
I'll probably carry on. I'll probably pop over to Paula's sprint now, and because she goes on to like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I won't be sleeping, so she keeps me going.
I keep forgetting that Paula does them on Mondays. I need to do it on a different night. I'm just trying to find like another night that I can fit in. You know, like Thursday definitely works for me, and then
I'm thinking of doing some on a Friday, Friday early evening, and just going for like 6 hours, like 6 till midnight or something. And because Friday's my day off, I just need to figure out because I've never done one on my own without you lot. So I don't know how to bring the comments up or where I get the timer from. So I just need to figure that out.
Kev can probably help you with that. If you drop me a message, we can sort it.
Thank you.
I have no idea how it all happens. Just the magic happens behind the scenes here. Luckily, the text. I hear it's fine. I know Cameron Cheney, we did a Buffy chat recently, and he'd never done a live stream before. And he's pretty tech savvy, I think, but he managed to figure it out.
That was fun. That was. I was on that. Yeah. I came on that. That was actually really loved that old school April. I didn't actually get involved. I probably will next year, but absolutely loved all the live streams and the reading sprints, and it was great fun. Really good fun.
Yeah, Kelsey's really good at kind of rallying people around, and a bit like we've done here, like creating a community of people who all kind of vibe with what she vibes with, and hers is like the kind of niche of a lot of vintage and kind of nostalgia, so it does feel really nice. Like everything that I watched that month for Old School April, it was things I've wanted to watch for a while, and like Doc Hollywood, a Michael J. Fox film I've not seen, and no, it's good fun reading the books.
I keep trying to find like an old school 80s. I'm thinking of doing it because 80s is my era really, rather than the 90s. I was a teenager in the 80s. I was an adult in the 90s. So although I watched a lot of the 90s stuff, it was mainly when I was recovering from a hangover. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I wasn't a kid. So to me, the 80s are more my nostalgia, I guess.
I think Old School April had like an 80s dimension as well. Yeah. Some of the prompts were 80s specific, which was good. And then, you can probably think of the 90s stuff from when you were an adult having a great time.
Yeah.
How did you get on, Kasha, in that one?
Good. I made it now to page 90. Not much to say. There's certain comments of things that I am assuming are foreshadowing stuff, but I don't want to make assumptions too early. But there's been talks, like I'm assuming there's ghosts in the place for sure. And the kids from the family, from Nicole, from the sister, they say they play with the Italian kids, and I'm pretty sure they're ghosts. 100%. I will put my hand on the fire. I can see those things. Like, I think they're obvious, so I don't think the author is really trying to hide that, or at least it's very obvious to me. But I'm enjoying the family dynamic and to get to know the family a little bit better. It's a little bit different from the books I normally read, because this is more of a mood, atmosphere, kind of family drama trip thing than a horror. So it's fun for me because it's very different from other things that I normally tend to read. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna be like scary or creepy for me at all. But I'll just see it as a nice family study with creepy villa in Italy.
Yeah, I mean, I did read it in an Airbnb too, so I think that heightened the experience. Looking out over my door, cemetery, that was pretty cool. I kind of wanted to live in that house. It had the most amazing, like, tangled overgrown garden, and
nice.
Sitting by the graveyard every night and reading. I was just like, this is amazing. And I read those 2 books in that location, so I think that's part of the reason why it was really atmospheric for reading. Hi, Paula. We're just talking about you and he.
I'll be over in a minute, Paula.
Yeah. Anybody else who's still wanting to sprint? I'm going to go to sleep. Well, read in bed to unwind. Oh,
yes. That's why I have my headphones plugged in because the cats go crazy.
Oh, no worries, Chloe. No worries, Chloe. Oh my goodness! Instead of no worry, Chloe. No worries, Chloe. This is why I need to finish at 10 o'clock because I have to go to bed around 10. Otherwise, I'm like no good for the rest of the week. It just writes me off. thank you too. It's been lovely as usual to chat about horror and everything. And as usual, I've got lots done, although it ended up being like boring admin. I was doing my PowerPoint for Sunday. I'm doing a workshop about TikTok, which is quite funny because it started off as a panel and it became just me talking about TikTok on my own. And I'm like, why does this happen to me? But I think it'll be fine. It's just one of those things where I feel, like that's like imposter syndrome where I haven't got loads of followers on there, but I'm just starting to figure out quite a few ways that it could work for authors. So I'm hoping that I can kind of go at it from, I'm not like super experienced at it. I'm just
I love TikTok. It's my favorite of the social media. I love Instagram. I love all of it. But TikTok is just so immediate.
Yeah.
So you can literally turn on the camera and just talk to people. Their live facility is brilliant. If authors, I've interviewed a few authors on my lives. It's so immediate and it's such a good connection. On Instagram, sometimes it breaks down,
Yeah, I need to get better at the immediacy thing. What I tend to do is more like a staged, this is a stack of videos. I think I need to get better at the throwing a camera in front of myself and talking, just because I find that takes a bit more setup. It's like by the time I've done my lights, sorted my lights and got my camera in the right place, it's like the 2 minutes I had to film is gone.
I never think that far ahead, Amy. Why? I mean, I record on my phone, and I literally just record sat, and I just press record, and then I just chat, and then I shove it on CapCut, put the captions on because I caption everything, and then just throw it on everything. I never edit. I just talk. I just turn it on and talk.
Yeah, the only thing I edit is the beginning and end of my TikToks because of the way I do it. I tend to have it on a I can't think what are they called? I'm too tired.
Tripod.
Yeah, a thing that holds it basically. So there's always an arm reaching over to press record, and then an arm reaching over to press stop. So I always cut off those bits. What do you do, Kash? You tend to be a bit more like me, like the kind of. Do you use
if I use a tripod or something, what I do usually is my finger is here so you don't see it. I don't reach like this. I kind of like just tap on it.
Okay.
So if I don't need to edit it, sometimes I will edit if I need to add text. If I don't need to add any text, I just record it on TikTok just like that. I just put my finger like underneath and you don't see it.
I'm just like this, so I hold it like that.
Yeah.
So you can't see it, but I mean the YouTube ones I tend to do on a tripod because I'm usually holding books up.
Yeah.
So it's easier. But I don't know. I haven't got patience to edit.
That's the thing. I do a lot of holding books up. When I do the talking bits, it's usually because I want to hold some books up. So maybe that is. I was like, why do I do it on a tripod? But I think that is the reason. Like, I need my hands free because I'm not the most dexterous of people. Like, if I'm holding a phone, it would probably be like this, and I'd be dropping it, and it really close to my face, and then miles away. Like, I'm not very good at the manual dexterity stuff. Like if it's just static in front of me.
I think also you have regular kind of things that you do, whereas I don't plan. I just think I'll think of something and I do a video. I don't really plan anything. So I think if you plan things on your channel, then it's different, isn't it? Do you know? For me, I'll just think, I'll just chat about that.
Yeah, that's good. I like it. I really like the way you do it because it feels like a little insight into your life. And I always think, I should do that more. But the way I do it at the moment is in like little batches. So I might film for half an hour and I just quickly look around my shelves and go, what could I film today? So it's not masses of planning. It's like, thrillers. Yeah, thrillers today. And because I read the same kind of stuff, I think I end up like with quite a lot of duplicated content. But apparently TikTok likes that because for every time I pan across my point horror shelf, like there's more people who haven't seen it than have seen it. So I think
the algorithm is weird on TikTok. It's the weirdest of all of them, I think, actually.
Yeah, like my the point horror stuff I'm doing at the minute is getting lots of engagement. So I'm just kind of carrying on and seeing how this is me on TikTok at the minute. I'm just testing stuff and seeing what seems to do well and what is sort of a good way of talking about other people's books and a good way of talking about my own books. I'm still figuring it out, and I think that's my angle on Sunday. I'm just going to be honest and say I'm not like a seasoned, been doing this for 5 years and figured it out completely person, but I'm at the beginning of the journey, like I presume the people. I'm guessing people. It says it's for authors and publishers mainly, so I think they'll probably turn up just wanting to chat about some ideas, hopefully.
And it's very different now. You know, at one time it used to be you had to have a certain amount of followers to get any kind of um anything really. Whereas now it's engagement, right?
Mhm.
So never been bothered about how many followers I have, but the followers I have engage with me constantly.
Yeah,
So
same.
if I say to somebody, "Oh, that read this book," then everybody will buy. A good portion will buy the book,
Mhm.
and that's where it is. Is people can have hundreds of thousands of followers, and maybe 50 or 60 of them engage regularly. And
Yeah,
so it's that's where it's quality over quantity, really. And
yeah,
I don't care. I mean, I've got a life, I've got a job. This is fun. Do you know? It's not something I
yeah.
want to do for a living.
The only thing for authors is it does help, like with book deals and stuff. I think when you've
Yeah,
got over 100k, it seems to make a difference. So
yeah,
I'm kind of trying to build the followers now. I have never really thought about it until this year. I've thought, right, I probably need to do this because it seems to be a thing. Like people I know who are
Mhm.
getting deals, who've got higher followings, it seems to lend you a bit more gravitas. So I'm kind of looking into ways to do that. But like you said, having a really engaged community, like somebody posted about my book today, and she tagged me, and I just scrolled down the comments, and literally there were 15 people saying, "I'll buy that. Yeah, I've just bought it now because of you." And that's the real kind of engagement that you
yeah,
want.
yeah.
So she's obviously got an engaged community and people who trust her recommendations. So is more worthwhile trying to build that, I think, than trying to second guess how could
It
I become
is.
the next big
I mean,
thing.
for the big publishers, for the big five, it is all about follower accounts. Do you know what I mean? And so, I'm not bothered whether I get ARCs or PR packages, but you won't get them if you haven't got a minimum of so many.
No,
You just won't because it's not worth their while to do because it's all on numbers for them.
I
But
sometimes
small
get
independent publishers, you
yeah.
do.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I get them as an author, that kind of
Yeah.
thing sometimes. And it is particular publishers that send me stuff. But yeah, they're not sending it because of my 4,000 followers on TikTok or whatever. They're sending it because they want blurbs from me and they want it to.
Penguin's the only one. Penguin and Orion, and Titan, which I suppose Penguin's one of the big five, isn't it?
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm always happy with an e-arc. I don't need a physical copy. Just send me an
yeah.
ebook. I love my Kindle.
I generally ask for those if people ask me for blurbs now, just because I think I'm
It's
faster.
quicker. Don't you read quicker on a
Hmm.
Kindle? I
And I think
do.
I can pick it up anywhere as well. Like I can read it on my
Yeah.
phone if I'm waiting outside school or something and I've got 5 minutes. I can't pick up a physical book, but I can, because blurb requests sometimes it's really quick, or I get sent a book, like I got sent a book 2 weeks ago, and then on Friday the publisher said, "Have you had a chance to blurb this? We want the quotes by Monday." And I was like, "Oh, that's a quick turnaround." But at the time I didn't ask when they wanted them by. I just assumed somebody had nudged me, so I did a quick read over the weekend. But because it was a
Yeah.
physical book, it was a bit harder.
Somebody's asked me to blurb. I've never been asked before. A few indie authors have used them, my
Mhm.
blurbs before. But there's this horror anthology coming out with my indie UK authors
Oh, that's
called
nice.
it's called Bloody Hell, actually. And it's an anthology of all UK indie authors. And so I'm gonna be beta reading and arc reading that. And so that's gonna be fun. And she said, "Will you blurb it?" I went, "Well, I'll give it a go, love." But I do know quite a lot of authors, so you might be asking you for help here, Amy. See, I might be
Go
saying,
for
"What do
it.
you think I should say?"
Honestly, I find blurbing so difficult because
Mhm.
often it's like a gut feeling, like you're
Yeah,
like, I loved it or I didn't love it, but how to concisely say that in like a pithy way that they might want to put on the front of a book is
and
just
there's
really hard.
catchy, so catches people's attention,
Mhm.
isn't it?
They tend to
So
like
yeah,
something meets something is the big thing at the minute. So whenever I do like for one of Cat Ellis's, I said something like, was it like Riverdale meets something else?
I do
Whatever
that
it
a lot.
was.
Comparison.
Yeah,
I
and
think it
that
gives people a picture. It gives people a visual idea of what the book is going to be.
yeah.
So I think it's a really good way of doing it. But yeah,
Yeah, publishers seem to like it as well. I like because I just chat to authors, and the ones who seem to have a really clear like couple of comps, they're the ones that are selling.
hmm
And for my latest one, like we had quite a clear, concise pitch, and I think that helps.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's all guesswork. I feel like sometimes it's just a dartboard, and I'm just throwing stuff with a blindfold and seeing if
That's
it'll
like
hit.
that's like life, though. To be fair, isn't it?
Yeah, it is definitely. Then on that note, another Sharonism of the night. Life is a dartboard. If you're wearing a blindfold, just hope you don't throw it at somebody in the room.
Yeah, just don't aim for people. Yeah.
Yeah, don't aim for people. It's a good life philosophy, probably. thank you both. It's been lovely. Thank you, people watching and chatting in the comments. I always appreciate that. I'm going to be doing sprints on Thursday, although I am going to Comic Con the following day, so it may be a quick one. I haven't figured it out yet, but I will try and come on. Because I'm there each day. I'm doing one different thing, so it's quite spread out this time. So yeah, and if anybody's at Comic Con, come and say hello to me because I like that. That's the reason why I go. I like talking to people. So thank you, everyone. Take care.
Everyone.
Good night.